We are live, I believe so. Ladies and gentlemen, please let me know. Please let me know you hear me clearly. That means something. Just waiting for some reaction and we'll get going here. Antique X-Ray, how you doing? I wanted to get something up here. Perfect. So I'm thinking to myself, well, good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. Thinking to myself, what's going to be those two topics that I'm going to pitch in on? And I have them. But a little bit of housekeeping. There's a little more white space up there, isn't there? So there's stuffer in the works. I'm between really two options here. Again, excuse the housekeeping for the first few minutes. I'm thinking of either putting up, let's say, I'm thinking like a wood finish on this wall here, sort of like a stick on kind of thing. Maybe a brown wooded finish, and then I could put shelves on there and I could put lights on there. It could look really cool. Or I'm thinking I'm just moving this desk up a foot and putting up a green screen that I already own. And then from there, I can really make it look however I want. Then I don't have to worry about holes in the wall. Then I don't have to worry about plants. Then I have to worry about watering the plants. My general take, right? That's what's going through my head right now. And honestly, I don't know. I have so much real estate to work with there. Yeah, that's where I'm at. But then I'm gonna have to design the backdrop on the green screen. If that's even, I wonder how I'm gonna do that. I'm not worried about the technical ability to actually display it, but yeah, there's that. All right, so that's Robert. Yeah, create my own hologram a la Star Trek. I don't know. I got to play around with it, but I listened out to you guys, and I in the end I agreed with you. The it's time for that. It's time for that to go. Right now I'm at the Smerconish console, and that's that. We hit 8:05. Okay, so with that is that for housekeeping. That's just where the channel is going. I didn't make a video yesterday regarding a commentary. I didn't feel particularly strongly about something, and I was preparing for the snow, and I was going to I was meeting up with a club of mine we went to the gun range. It was a lot of fun. And you know, the thing is, this is something I feel conflicted about. Let's say I live, it's no secret, you guys know I live in New York City. Mamdani has over $1 billion shortfall in his budget after the governor kicked in $2 billion from the state budget to give him an additional funds. I'd love to make a commentary about how, buddy, you just can't pay for it if you don't have the tax base. But I don't know if that'll appeal to the audience. You know what I'm saying? And then I also spent the time watching the Huckabee Tucker interview, or the Tucker Carlson Mike Huckabee interview over the weekend, and I do have a fair share to say about that. But I don't know if I should be making that and putting it on my channel. It's just it's really, really niche. I don't know if it's too niche to put out. That's where I stand. You guys can comment on that. I'm going to go into the couple of headlines that I wanted to set out that probably do appeal to you guys a lot more than those two topics. Supreme Court striking down tariffs. Now, as you guys know, I mean, my business has paid a lot of money in tariffs this year. And the biggest question wasn't if the Supreme Court was going to rule them unconstitutional, but how we were going to go about getting refunded. Because morally speaking here, not legally, the tariffs that were collected were illegally collected. That's the ruling of the court. The court said that the IEPA's authority to regulate importation cannot be read as a blank check to impose open-ended tariffs. So, and taxation is not a power that the president has, even under IEPA. That is what the is what the Supreme Court is saying. They said the kind of broad revenue raising belongs to Congress. It's an Article 1 power. So I went through the decision itself because it does have a lot of impact in my pocket here. The other tariffs are valid. There's Section 232, 301, and there's a few other sections that fall under presidential authority to impose. And it's funny, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, governor of Arkansas, former press secretary for the president, she said the quickest way to get Trump to do something is tell him he can't. I would say the second quickest way to tell him to do something is the Dow tells him or the market tells him. Because during Liberation or after Liberation Day, when the market went in the plunge or the fluctuations that it did initially, how long did it take for them to sit down with China? And Besant was putting out all kinds of statements, and he had to tame the business community, and so on and so on. And it's not like Trump hesitated in imposing more tariffs again. In the end of the day, some businesses ate the tariff and some businesses charged the consumer. I was long of the opinion, not on this channel, but my other, that we will not be seeing those refunds as business owners. We're not seeing those refunds because giving it back would be too complex. And it'll be impossible to track down who exactly paid what. If I only began to explain to you what the difference between FOB and DDP was, I mean, I need another video in and of itself. But long story short, one of the biggest ways some companies got around paying duties were China opened up corporations in the United States. Chinese factories opened up corporations in the United States, which they could do without identification. They imported the goods to that dummy company, underdeclared the value, prepaid the value, and then had that dummy company simply transfer it to you as a domestic transfer where no tariffs were due. Liability lies all on the Chinese company. Usually Customs and Border Patrol wouldn't buy that. They would still come after you as the final destination co-signee. But that became in 2025 too common practice. And can you imagine now giving back all of those billions to dummy corporations, or do you give it back to the final co-signee that Customs and Border Patrol goes after? It's complicated and it's not so clear cut. And anyways, Trump reimposed 15% tariffs, first 10, then 15 over the weekend. So, and right now my importers and my freight forwarders, they have no idea what's flying. None. They're trying to figure it out. Not because they're incompetent, but there's just too much going on. And if you look at, I mean, the Supreme Court's decision made a fair point in that there has to be some sort of threshold of emergency to impose tariffs under IEPA. But Kavanaugh was the only one to address the refunds. Practically, that is the biggest implication of this decision, not the cessation of charges going forward, more of whatever we've collected going backwards. And just think about the practicality of our treasury needing to give up those funds. That's when we don't have it, how in the world would we be able to do it? Go and borrow that money from China? Imagine that. So I'm thinking about it. I put this together. The tariff measures are ruled unlawful. The duties collected are in principle vulnerable to refund claims, but Trump was right. The only way to go about refunding them is by litigating it over the next few years. I mean, capacity that our justice system really didn't need to get bombarded with at this point. Funny enough, the Justice Department actually put out statements saying that if the tariffs were ultimately held unlawful, the government would issue refunds after a final and unappealable decision, ordering refunds, including for some IEPA tariffs not directly at issue in the Supreme Court case. So there's enough wiggle room out of there for the Department of Justice to say, we never said we'll refund you. So yeah, everything is credible, but what I'm thinking is, in terms of the American consumer, I see credibility to Justice Kavanaugh's dissent. Trade deals were made, monies were collected, put into the U.S. Treasury. Now, legally unallowed or against the law now. Or I would say it was an illegal tax. I don't feel comfortable with the government overstepping its authority and getting to keep that tax. Given the situation of our country, call me crazy. I don't think it's bad to increase tariffs and pay back our debt. I said it, right? I don't think increasing the tax rate is the way to do it. So far, the tariff thing worked. It worked. And as far as the American consumer, one day that bill is coming due. So we're going to have to repay it somehow. And I think the tariff way to do it is the best way to do it. Tariff instead of personal income taxes. And no, I apologize. I think cutting entitlements is the best way to do it. Tariffs would be second best. Income tax, the least best. Nonetheless, it's a pressing issue. And last but not least, the ends to which Trump is using the tariffs, I'm not sure are clear. I mean, it reminds me just like the Republicans' methods to addressing healthcare and health insurance, the Affordable Care Act rebuttal. They don't really have a plan to do that, nor do they have a plan when it comes to tariffs now. Because when it comes to tariffs, what's the aim? To bring back U.S. manufacturing? I mean, we're the second largest manufacturer in the world. That's what I learned from Scott Galloway. And who said we even want those jobs? If you're telling me that COVID really exposed the vulnerability of this country with our supply chain and whatever else we had. I get it. You want to shift the dynamic on our dependence external to the country. I get it. But that's not what the tariffs were doing. The tariffs definitely altered our standing in the world when it comes to world trade. It definitely altered our reputation out there as a trade partner. So that's what happened there. And then last but not least, I also looked into, can the government just keep the money because it's too messy to give back? It could be a violation of due process. But it's not unprecedented. Just because the process is complicated doesn't mean the government can retain it. But there's an administrative law notion called practical inconvenience. And courts limit sometimes the retrospective relief. It's going to be worked out by the Court of International Trade, which again I can't believe that court was so unknown, but now it's so prominent given the headlines. And just a lot more litigation is up next. It's such a classic move by SCOTUS to just be vague and leave it up to everyone else to figure out. I remember even my poli-sci 101 class how frustrated I was with reading some decisions and just how the court purposely said, well, this is a mess. Go figure it out, everyone else. But that's where they left this. Okay. I will get into one more headline, and then we will, and then I'll engage with some comments just to see where everybody is. Well, actually, let me expand a little more into the stock market's effect with the tariffs. If you realized, Liberation Day, stocks were going down. Market didn't like tariffs. Friday, when the ruling came down, the stock market went up ever so slightly because it was factored into the market that the tariffs would be ruled unconstitutional. And then now the stock market seems to be going down. Because of the, again, instability of Trump imposing the tariffs and Trump announcing he's going to impose 10 then 15% on the market. So let's see how that happens. Yeah, the market doesn't like it, but the market is not as volatile as Liberation Day when Trump was just going crazy with it. Now, speak to me government philosophy here. Congress gave up their I would say tariff power. I don't want to say tax power because the big beautiful bill just passed, but they gave up a lot of their authority because of, I guess, gridlock and dysfunction. They also gave up, I guess, the ability to declare war or the ability to authorize military force by the executive branch. Think of Venezuela, number one. Under what authority did Trump go in there and get Maduro? Think Iran. Under what authority does Trump have to act and strike on Iran? I guess that falls a lot more within the AUMF, authorized use of military force passed before Iraq, than, let's say, the boat strikes. I remember there was some gymnastics that happened to authorize the strikes on the drug boats through the AUMF. But I guess the same thing applies in Iran, but I guess it's a lot less of gymnastics. So Congress is giving up their taxation power and declaring war power. It doesn't mean, I guess, that Trump can't use a singular strike as his capacity and commander in chief. But does that necessitate a declaration of war? I don't know the legality. But this still speaks to a frustration. Me as an American, where the hell is Congress? Do your job. I mean, what are you doing? There's a frustration I have, in case that's not clear. And you can't imagine what the spectacle is going to be tomorrow night, State of the Union. Which, by the way, do let me know if you want me to stream out. I definitely don't mind streaming while I'm watching. We can watch it together, or we can comment together. You can see my reactions in real time. We could do that, or I don't know if it'll be too late. I may be working late, so I have to see how that works with my schedule anyway. The State of the Union is definitely going to be entertaining. I see Nancy says it's going to be a circus. And, well, he invited the Olympic hockey team. That's, by the way, American pride. I am very happy America won. Go Team USA. The fact it was against Canada, I'm also happy we won, because not only did we win the World Series, which we were not entitled to do, they were clearly the better team. But we also got the gold in hockey. So that's that's really nice. In overtime, what a game. That was really cool. Okay, we're at 8:23, but let me engage with some comments. That's really it. My frustration with Congress in terms of use of military force, use of taxation. What the hell else are you doing if you're not doing anything on that front? And the impact of tariffs, and what happens to the government when they illegally collect funds from us, and how this can help, how this wrongful act and illegal act by the government can actually help us recover from national debt. There's my take. If you're not in favor of the Treasury keeping the funds, think of how do you expect to refund those people that went through DDP or prepaid duties before the goods landed at their factory or at their warehouse? Again, you have to qualify your answer knowing how the import system works. I just know it because I do it. I'm more than open to opinions. If you're in favor of them refunding either the customer or the business. Let me just say one more thing before I turn to comments. I've said this on the channel before. I really hope Trump is not going to use this as everybody gets a tariff dividend now. Look at how much money we made, and basically that's his cover for giving back the money to the American people. Because I'm sure he'd want to buy favor that way, but we cannot afford it. We don't have the money. That's there's my take. Okay, let's do some comments, guys. And again, I'm not on a streaming software yet. I'm on the YouTube's native platform, so I cannot feature it. I'm gonna have to read it out to you guys before I respond. Guys, let me just ask you also, please kindly, if you can give this a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. That would really help me in the algorithm. Let's. Oh, and I did respond to a couple of you guys. I got a message from Fabrizio Suan. Thank you for writing to me. I did respond to you over the weekend. We're talking about the snow. I never even opened my window, and there is a window out there. I'm afraid to be honest with you. But hey, I got to go shoveling later on. I was chatting with you guys before the stream started how sick I am of the snow, and it's going to be 50 degrees on Sunday here. So there's that going on. Jamal fueled up his generator and snowblower yesterday, hoping he could get a leaf blow the snow off the back deck. Just realized that I forgot to move a piece of wood back there. It belongs after the storm. All right. Well, hey, last storm I was stranded in paradise, right? I had to pay somebody $150 to shovel my my stairs and driveway. So now I get to do it. Fun me. Careful for your backs, everybody. Yes, something I learned: shipping boxes, right? Make it all come from your legs. Your legs is There's a position, you put most pressure on your legs, your backs should not be holding the weight. Careful, everybody, there's a form to it. Aha, Nancy says the wall looks naked. Yes, yes, it does. Anybody see the closing Olympics ceremony? Does it sunset is asking. Kate saw a little bit of it. Hamilton, paint or wood would be nice too. Good pun. Good pun, Hamilton. Like the wood finish idea would be warm looking. I know. And if you see, look, I tried lowering the. Oh, thank you for the additional thumbs up, guys. I tried lowering the camera just a little bit to get that pipe out of the frame. Yeah. Let's see how the wood finish is going to look. Or the green screen. I guess I'll try the green screen first, just because it requires less of an installation. Put up something that makes you happy. Thank you, Hamilton. Happy place where you're located, work, basement, or somewhere else. Right now, this is the basement of my home. It's funny. The previous apartment I lived in before I moved out, before I had my son, didn't have some sort of secluded area. Right now, this is a couple of flights down from the primary residence, and I could leave out my tech without my kids tampering with it. So this is a pretty special area to me because it's sort of secluded and it's in my home. The winter definitely hurt some city budgets. Yeah, Robert, or was it Robert who said that? Whoever said the winter definitely hurt some city budgets. I mean, yeah, but you don't have to give free buses and free to the whole city while you're strapping for money. I mean, come on. Hamilton, I believe you're talking. Hamilton, I don't worry about state support for New York City given the relationship. Yes, $1 billion hole in the budget will need filling. I saw a great commentary yesterday. What if the city streamlines? I saw Fareed Zakaria give a commentary about the New York City budget, and I do plan on watching it. Nancy, as a business move, I set up my accounts to be refunded in the event that refunds go out to businesses. I did. Listen, if they go out to businesses, I'm going to collect them. I don't think as a American citizen that's the right move, but as a business owner, I don't know. I don't deserve to own a business if I'm not going to claim a refund if all the other businesses are getting refunded. What do you think of Trump's response to the ruling? I mean, typical. He's impulsive and sporadic, typical Trump behavior. I'll go a few more minutes responding to comments. Sorry, that was in response to Michelle Moore. What do you think of Trump's response to the ruling? Let me go to the more recent comments. Hamilton, hey, Charles, if import duties are collected at the warehouse or other location, that should be part of the import documents and might be reclaimed by the letter of credit. So they're not collected at the warehouse. The import duties are actually collected at the border or at the port. That's where the monies are exchanged between CBP and the consignee or the importer of record. Those are two different designations depending on how you're importing product. Technically, you could go ahead and refund those importers of record. Again, they are dummies. There are dummy corporations. There's little, if any, way to go back to those companies and mail them a check or send them an ACH transfer. And a lot of them don't even have viable contact information to give that money to. So then those monies go into an unclaimed fund kind of thing. And then if the duties assessed on those products were underdeclared and you're giving that money back, that's even more of a mess of fraud that people are going to have to worry about. Because if that dummy corporation just went ahead, turned around and gave a domestic inventory transfer, which is not subject to any tariff, to a legitimate corporation in America, who's liable for A, the fraudulent import filing, and B, I guess, defrauding CBP of the refunds they're issuing. There's a liability issue that you got to worry about, and also logistical, practical thing you got to worry about. A couple more. Jamal responding to Michelle. It's their job, and they're being paid by us, although they're largely abdicating their responsibilities. I hope you're talking about Congress. Yeah, I don't know what the hell they're doing. As far as I saw somebody said, Fareed was something. Fareed was merciless about the New York City budget. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for the support. Wow, we made it to 10 thumbs up. Thank you, everybody. I saw we made it up to, I believe, 20 something streams today. So that's good stuff. I am liking the native YouTube platform. I am. I miss the ability to feature your comments. So I may look into a different software this week. I already pre-scheduled the Wednesday and Friday streams. So don't get confused. Don't be at the wrong stream. They're dated. They're dated right when they're supposed to go live. Everybody, wishing you all the best. Stay warm, and let's shovel that way out of this one for once and for all, right? March is next week. Have a good day, everybody.